Hello everyone, and welcome back to GameInsiderX. Today we'll be analyzing one of the most important video games of the last decade. The Last of Us, developed by Naughty Dog and originally released in 2013 for PlayStation 3. This title marked a turning point not only for its story, but also for its unprecedented blend of narrative, gameplay, and atmosphere. More than just a game, it was an emotional and technical experience that showed how far the medium could go. In this analysis, we'll talk about its development context, gameplay, world design, characters, and the impact it had on the gaming industry. So, if you're a fan of good design, well-told stories, and games that leave their mark, stick around, because this is The Last of Us. Context and birth of a work. In 2013, Naughty Dog was already a studio renowned for the Uncharted series, but it wanted to explore something darker and more realistic. From that quest came The Last of Us, directed by Neil Druckmann and Bruce Straley. Their inspiration came from several sources. Films such as Children of Men and No Country for Old Men, and the very nature of the cordyceps fungus, a real parasite that affects insects but which, in the game, adapts to infect humans. The team sought to create a more intimate experience. It wasn't about saving the world, but about surviving in it, showing human emotions in their rawest form. With more than 200 people working for 4 years, Naughty Dog managed to push the PlayStation 3 hardware to its limits. The result was a title that combined the cinematic narrative of Uncharted with the rawness of modern survival horror. Gameplay, survival. Unlike other action games of the time, The Last of Us didn't want to make you feel powerful. Its focus is survival, not domination. Combat is tense, realistic, and brutal. Every bullet counts. Every hit hurts, and every enemy can easily kill you. There is no excess ammunition or automatic health regeneration. The player must constantly improvise, using whatever they can find: bottles, bricks, knives, or homemade bombs. The crafting system is simple but very effective. You have limited resources and must decide between making a first aid kit or a Molotov cocktail. These kinds of decisions create tension even outside of combat. Stealth is essential. Human enemies communicate, flank you, and react to noise. And the infected, especially the clickers, turn every dark hallway into a moment of pure terror. Nothing in this game is gratuitous. Every encounter has a purpose. Every setting is designed to make you feel vulnerable. That's what sets The Last of Us apart from other titles in the genre. The story. A human journey. The Last of Us puts us in the shoes of Joel, a man scarred by personal tragedy who lives in a world destroyed by the cordyceps outbreak. Years later, he is tasked with escorting Ellie, a teenager who is immune to the fungus. What begins as a mission ends up becoming a father-daughter relationship, amidst the ruins. Beyond the plot, what makes The Last of Us great is how it tells its story. There are no excessive cutscenes or constant exposition. The game lets you experience the relationship between the two characters through small conversations, gestures, or silences. Every pause, every glance, is full of meaning. It's a story that isn't just told, it's experienced. Level and world design. The level design in The Last of Us is an example of how to build believable worlds. Each area has coherence and purpose, from collapsed cities to forests covered in vegetation. The environment tells its own story. Letters, graffiti, abandoned toys, and lifeless bodies reveal fragments of what happened without the need for dialogue. This keeps the player immersed, curious, and attentive to every detail. The pace of the game is another strong point. It alternates moments of intense action with quieter sections that encourage exploration. This structure prevents fatigue and gives each combat scene emotional weight. In addition, the transition between cutscenes and gameplay is seamless, reinforcing the feeling of being immersed in a continuous experience. There are no abrupt jumps. Everything flows naturally. Characters and performances. Joel and Ellie are two of the most memorable characters in gaming history. But their impact would not be the same without the work of Troy Baker and Ashley Johnson, who not only provided their voices, but also their entire performances through motion capture. This allowed for incredibly expressive facial and body animations. The chemistry between the two actors feels real, and that elevates every dialogue. The supporting characters also contribute a lot. Tess, Bill, Henry, and Sam. They all have stories that reflect different ways of surviving or giving up. Nothing feels forced. The humanity that Naughty Dog manages to convey through its cast is one of the reasons why the game is still so memorable. Technical and artistic section. Visually, The Last of Us was a feat for the PlayStation 3. Its lighting, the detail of the environments, and the quality of the animations placed it far above most games of its generation. In 2014, the PlayStation 4 remaster improved textures, shadows, and fluidity, running at 60 frames per second. And in 2022, the PS5 remake, called The Last of Us Part 1, rebuilt the game from scratch using the engine from The Last of Us Part 2, demonstrating the strength of its legacy. The sound design was also key. Every step, breath, or gunshot is carefully designed to increase tension. The sound of a clicker in the dark can be more terrifying than any cinematic scene. The music, composed by Gustavo Santaolalla, is minimalist but emotional. It uses guitars and soft tones that don't seek to stand out, but rather to accompany. It's a soundtrack that feels human, sad, and hopeful at the same time. Impact and legacy in gaming. The impact of The Last of Us was enormous. Not only did it receive more than 200 Game of the Year awards, but it also directly influenced the development of future titles focused on narrative and emotion. Games such as God of War, 2018, A Plague Tale, Innocence, and Days Gone took inspiration from its narrative style and realistic design. Even studios outside of PlayStation recognized its influence on how to balance story and gameplay. Furthermore, its success led to a more ambitious and controversial sequel in 2020 and an HBO television series in 2023, acclaimed by both gamers and critics alike. The Last of Us became a cultural touchstone, an example of how video games can be as profound and emotionally powerful as any movie or series. Conclusion. More than 10 years after its release, The Last of Us remains a benchmark in gaming history. Not only for its story, but also for its design, pacing, atmosphere, and ability to move players without resorting to gimmicks. It's a work that combines all the elements that make this medium great: challenge, immersion, emotion, and meaning. The Last of Us not only showed us how to survive in a world in ruins, but also why it's worth doing so. If you like this video, give it a like, subscribe to GameInsiderX, and turn on the bell so you don't miss any gaming content. See you next time.